This is Talon Mark II, a semi-unibody, mostly screwless, full combat antweight featuring replaceable front armor panels with a unique frame construction. This design has competed in 2 events now, with over 10 fights under its belt, with the latest improvements ushering home first place at Rabid's Harvest Havoc in Richmond, Virginia, just a few weeks ago. I'll be taking you through not only its scrappy run to the podium, but also giving an inside look into the design and materials that made it all possible. To kick things off, let's take a step back and see how I got my start in combat robotics and what inspired this design. I had just discovered the combat robotics scene in July, and having a Vex background, wanted to jump in and try my hand at things. I figured it would make the most sense to start with a kitbot, gain some experience driving that to help inform my own design later. After some research, I settled on a Palm Beach kitbot and dove right in. At my first event, I was given a fairly favorable bracket and finished 3rd place. Not bad. Unfortunately, both fights I lost at that event to the eventual 1st and 2nd place finishers were due to the same thing. My top lid screws backed out and the battery became exposed, which is an instant DQ. So, hey, lesson learned. With this newfound hatred for screws and the fresh PTSD of losing not 1, but 2 lids, I set out to design a bot that used as little screws as possible. Initially, I was concerned with how flexible a TPU unibody frame would be, so I had the idea of using rods to strengthen the frame. The way that the CAD soon evolved, they became the primary fastener too, used to interlock the pieces of the bot together. I found 1/8 inch fiberglass rods on McMaster Carr that have the perfect balance of flexibility and rigidity while weighing next to nothing. While doing some research on antweight design meta, I came up with the idea of replaceable armor sections to help mitigate the primary disadvantage of TPU unibody designs, the lack of repairability. With a traditional unibody design, once a section of that plastic is damaged, your options for repairing the frame are limited and may require a time-intensive frame replacement. I assumed having the capability to swap the front armor could prove beneficial in the pits come match day. The interlocking geometry I ultimately settled on slides the front armor sections into the frame from below and are then interlocked together with those rods. Admittedly, the bot isn't entirely screwless. There are, of course, screws attaching the 3 motors to the frame, but everything else is fastened together with 1/8 inch diameter rods inside of a flexible 3D printed PEBA, spelled PEBA, frame. To size the holes correctly, I made up a test block of both circle and square holes to test the friction of each size and shape to kind of nail down the best balance of friction and ease of assembly. Besides the few motor mount screws that there are, everything else is friction fit together and held together perfectly. Here's what the assembly process looks like. Using the appropriate pliers, I can assemble and disassemble the bot for servicing. Simply slide the rods in to lock all the parts together and use long nose pliers to pull it back out. Most times I use a wooden block that acts as a backer to press the rods in for safety. That wooden block is also my bot stand, so it's dual purpose. Four titanium rods are embedded in the vertical weapon post to limit the second main downside of using a flexible unibody design, gyroflexing. Without any reinforcement, vertical struts made entirely of flexible filaments deflect significantly while the blade is spinning, enough to cut into itself. In one fight, I even lost the entire motor assembly, so I made this improvement prior to the Rabid match. The embedded titanium rods now give significantly more strength to the structure while keeping the weight low, eliminating the need for a UHMW upright. The rods act like bones in a person, if you will. The iteration of the bot I competed with at the Vector Space match just 2 weeks prior to the Rabid match lacked the embedded vertical rods, which was ultimately the main factor leading to its eventual 5th place finish. One particularly nasty hit deflected the non-reinforced vertical weapon mounts so much that my own blade pierced my battery. When I wasn't busy self-immolating, I was feeling the pain in the driving characteristics of the bot. absolutely horrible to drive, which hampered my otherwise aggressive style. For the Rabbit match, I reduced the weapon blade diameter, blade weight, added reinforcement, increased the frame infill, and lowered the blade's center of mass, all in the name of improved handling. The trade-off of reduced weapons performance and moment of inertia for improved handling characteristics was massive and did help me secure each judge's decision at Rabbit. The reduced damage potential was noticeable, however. I scored 0 knockouts at Rabbit, which is why I call the path to the podium scrappy. Thankfully, there is plenty of weight budget available, as I was 30 grams underweight for the Rabbit match, so maybe it's time to return to the larger diameter weapon, perhaps? We'll see. At both the Vector and Rabbit matches, the external rods have been a point of confusion, often being confused for stabilizing bars or features. Mounted externally, these rods are to protect the guts of the bot from top attack hammer saws, although they remain untested as I haven't had the opportunity to face the main reason for them in the Mid-Atlantic region, Doomslug. Because I was so underweight at Rabbit's Harvest Havoc, I chose to run them in every fight anyway in the unlikely event that they would help. So while most of the time they simply served as arena clutter, they did take 1 hit from Moray, so I guess that's worth it, maybe. I'm sure if I had been matched against Doomslug, we would have seen a pretty Sparkfest though, so I'm sure we'll see it eventually. The first method of mounting these rods at Vector was absolutely horrible. I had tried plastic welding supports onto the top lid of the bot, and that just did not hold up well at all. They usually fell off within the first or second hit of the fight. The mounting points I used at Rabid were a little bit better, but still not particularly great, so I definitely need a better solution there. I have tried directly integrating these mounts into the uprights, but due to the flexible nature of the design, they just don't happen to stay in very well. So for the Rabbit match, I did also add a small length of titanium rod to protect the weapon wires against horizontal spinners. And since I didn't lose any motor wires, I guess I'll call that a success. I don't really see much damage in those, so I think more testing is needed. The frame material is Syria Tech, not quite sure how to say that, 95A PEBA, or PEBA, a TPU-like filament, which does offer a tough finish, and it's about 10 to 15% lighter thanks to its lower density compared to TPU. After 2 events, I'll say PEBA isn't perfect, but it has been useful, even in my relatively unoptimized use. I say unoptimized because the frame is just printed with default settings at 25% gyroid infill, and the front armor panels are the same default settings at 15% infill. So given that, most of the geometry only comes with 2 or 3 walls of plastic, which I've been told isn't very many. So that's a bit of area for improvement, I will say. The main downside of PEBA that I've of course noticed is the price. I've noticed that in my wallet. It's going for about $50 per 800 gram roll as of Q4. It's certainly not a cheap material to R&D and print a lot of spares with, but it's otherwise proven to be fairly easy to print with my Bamboo P1S. So overall, not too bad. When I have time, I'll keep experimenting with PEBA, and I'll see if I can improve its durability. I do think for those that currently leverage TPU, it may be a worthwhile material to at least experiment with if you need to save some weight. The guts of the bot are Repeat Robotics brushless motors and accompanying ESCs. Internal wiring was made simple with the use of 2 and 3.5mm banana cutie connectors, allowing me to make not 1, but 3 wiring harnesses. These harnesses can be quickly swapped from frame to frame or allow for the replacement of key parts without the need to solder on the clock. I timed it, and from ready-to-go subassemblies, I can put an entire bot together in about 15 minutes. If I skip the Vibratite, I can cut that down to 10 minutes flat, which is pretty good. Since I'm new to the scene, I decided to outsource the wheel development to Roche Robotics, which, if you're from the Mid-Atlantic region, I'm sure you've heard of or at least seen a match with a bot running them. They're pretty decent wheels that use a hub-based design, They're expensive, but I think worth the streamlined development process for me at this time. They held up well. Only one of my 5 sets of wheels that I have now became completely inoperable, and honestly, it just took a big hit. So they come with good recommendations, and I echo those thoughts. My only side note on Roach is that there is a bit of a lead time, so if you are going to go with them, I recommend ordering well in advance of your match. I'm hoping he cuts that lead time down soon, although I think he's been slammed with orders, so that might be why. That's enough of a look at the current iteration of Talon Mark II. Let's go ahead and get into some fights from the Rabid Harvest Havoc. To start the day off, our first match is against Arrogant Burrito. This is actually the second time I've faced Burrito, which is the younger of the father-son duo alongside Bypass, which we'll see later. Let's first rewind a bit to see the first time I battled Burrito at Vector 2 weeks prior. Not a bad fight. Thankfully, I was able to get him up into the pit without much damage taken. I think the weapon size that Burrito runs limits the amount of devastating hits it can put out, in all honesty. So with that in mind, let's see how we held up against him at Rabid.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Talon charges in straight away, gets a little nick off of Arrogant Burrito, bouncing him around the box. Burrito's just trying to get its footing. See some nice little sparks there starting off. But it seems Talon is upside down. We have a pin from Arrogant for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Talon regains his footing after getting caught on the box a little bit. We've kind of got a big brother, little brother situation here. Big hurt. And we've got another pin from Burrito for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Oh, and Talon seems to not be driving. Can we get any movement? I'm gonna have to count you out.
Unfortunately, I had neglected to order a new radio receiver before this Rabid match, forcing me to use a battle-used and damaged one from 2 weeks ago. This manifested itself in a complete radio disconnect shortly after the start of the match and without any visible damage to the bot. Not entirely sure what happened, but thankfully I had a second, ironically, also damaged receiver, which I did manage to get working for the rest of the fight. So I power cycled the bot and it worked just fine after that. So like I said, I just tossed that receiver. I actually switched to a second wiring harness that I had, and it seemed to work from then on out. The second fight of the day was against a heavy hitter, Moray. Moray is coming off a win at another event just a week before this Rabid match, so needless to say, he's pretty dialed in.
Oh, looks like Talon is getting the better of these engagements. Both forks already off of Moray, and Moray is the one that's been going flying so far. We see some sparks from weapon-on-weapon engagements there. Very pretty to look at, very scary for the drivers. Talon on its back. Moray getting some good shots to the underbelly, sending Talon into the sky. Moray flipping upside down, still able to drive decently well without those forks, which is very rare for vertical spinners. See that signature wobble on that weapon of Moray. Oh, and we see one of the stabilizing bars. Talon has come off. The bot is upside down. Moray goes in to try to help its opponent right, which it does, and they get another good engagement face to face. Coming to the halfway point of this match, this has been fairly even. Oh, and we see the other stabilizing bar on Talon has come off. I'm not sure exactly what those are for, but we'll see how necessary they are to the function of the bot. As we come down to the final minute. Talon continuing it looks like the weapon motor wires on Moray have come out a little bit. And the weapon, I believe, is no longer functional on Moray with those wires strewn about. Talon's weapon's still functional. Moray's still driving well, but in the last 30 seconds, having no weapons, not going to look it on the judges. Talon turning down their weapon in the final 20 seconds. Go ahead and release that pin. Both bots still driving.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
All right, and that's going to be going to the judges.
An absolute brawl of a fight against Moray. I did choose to spin my weapon down there for the last 30 seconds or so, mainly just for longevity reasons, just to make sure I didn't run out of battery or accidentally do some damage to myself that I wasn't expecting. The judges had me spin it up afterwards just to make sure it all still worked. But either way, that was a pretty sweet fight. I ended up disabling his weapon motor, and he lost a wheel there towards the end of the fight. So needless to say, we did get the judges' decision in our favor. The third fight of the day was against Banana Blitz, a similarly designed bot, albeit one with a little bit narrower forks, which I think ultimately led him to winning much of the ground game. This was the fight I felt the least confident in, actually, going to the judges throughout the entire day. Banana certainly held his own. While neither of us really had much damage by the end of the fight, I think I knocked off some forks, but really that's about it.
And Blitz riding on its head in the corner. Talon upside down, twice in a row, but able to right itself. Oh, good hit from Talon on the back and underside of Banana Blitz. Bots locking horns in the middle of the box again. We have a pin for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Banana Blitz still with the just barely stronger drive over most of its opponents. Another 2 hits and taking off almost one of the full forks off of Banana Blitz. And a nice hit on the underside now. Oh, and another good hit sends Banana Blitz to the roof. Talon getting a little more aggressive and getting some more hits off.
1 minute remaining.
Final minute in the match. Banana Blitz now gets a hit on the behind. Looks like we have a gash out of the top of Talon after that last hit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Banana Blitz now striking back. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, good hit gets Banana Blitz out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. This is very even. We're in the final 10 seconds.
7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2,
2,
1, and this will be going to the judges' decision.
The judges did award me the win. I think based on how I controlled the last moments of the match, still very well fought from Banana, and honestly, the decision could have gone either way. So thankfully we got lucky. The fourth match of the day was easily the most dangerous. Up against Bypass, who just 2 weeks earlier completely cut off my weapon. He had also defeated Moray and another vert on his way to me, and was ultimately the matchup that I was the least looking forward to. I'll first show you how the matchup at Vector went down. Yeah, not a stellar match from the last iteration of Talon. You can see how hard it is to control and just how sluggish its movements are, not to mention how weak the unreinforced plastic is. Now, let's watch the Rabid rematch.
Vertical versus horizontal spinner for this fight. Oh, good engagement. Talon charging in, throwing caution to the wind to get some good straight-on hits. Throwing bypass to the ceiling, very good hit. Another roof hit. More good hits. Talon is just laying on the punishment. Oh, another massive hit onto the weapon assembly. Wheel hubs come off. Bypass is just taking blows left and right. Oh, and we see the carbon fiber, that weapon arm on Bypass getting attacked now. Just one thing after another. Talon piecing Bypass apart so far. That weapon's still working. Bypass is far from out of it. We seem to have some drive trouble. Oh, Talon's going for that carbon fiber again. Oh, good weapon on weapon hits. Talon almost getting that pin. Not quite. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release the pin. Very good shots.
1 minute remaining.
Final minute of the fight. Oh, and Bypass is stuck up, but used its weapon to get off the wall. Very well done by the driver of Bypass. Still in the fight, but looking worse for wear. 5, 4, 3. Bypass gets out of it. Still running, weapon and drive. Talon on its head briefly, but he recovers. We see a tiny bit of damage on Talon's right ear. Another big hit from Talon sends Bypass flying. Talon seems to be driving a little slow, but both bots are still moving, weapons running. Final 15 seconds of this match. Can anyone make a final good impression on the judges? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Nice final hit in the fight
Match
as this
finished.
goes to the judges' decision. Very good last impression.
While there wasn't a knockout on either side, this was easily the most damaging fight of the day. Both of us tanked some major hits. Towards the end, I started choosing my engagements a bit more tactically, which is why I looked a little slow. There was a moment in the middle there where it looked like I had lost part of my drive. I'm actually still unsure of what happened there, but I regained it, so ultimately didn't matter. The judges sided with my quality of hits and control of the match, so GG to Bypass. It was very solid of a rematch, and did require me to do a full rebuild just before the grand final. Finally, we've come full circle back to Arrogant Burrito in the penultimate fight. Let's do it.
Bots locking horns. We see only Talon has forks. Arrogant Burrito does not. We'll see if that makes a difference. Talon on its head momentarily. Despite having forks, Arrogant Burrito getting the edge on control at the start. We have a pin for 4. Talon gets back up on its feet. Walking up again. Talon trying to get around to the sides and the back of Arrogant Burrito and get the important hits. Big sparks. More big sparks. Talon getting around to the backside now. Very important. 5, 4. Talon letting go. Running Arrogant Burrito around the box. More sparks on that front ledge. Talon having a bit of the upper hand and control now. Arrogant Burrito looking to tie it back up. Brief moment of silence as Talon sends Arrogant Burrito into the wall and up into the sky as we reach the stabilizing rods from Talon has fallen off now. We'll see if he needs it. Ooh, Talon gets another good hit. We hit the final minute of this match. 5-4. Arrogant Burrito gets out of the pin. Ooh, and small hit sends Talon spinning a little bit. Arrogant Burrito having a little bit of drive trouble now. Talon still seeming to drive perfectly fine. Both weapons still working. Some more sparks. 3, 2, 1, and release. This is a very tense moment. 4. Talon ends the pin by sending Arrogant Burrito flying again. Final 30 seconds. Oh, Talon ramps up. He's able to right himself. That was close. 20 seconds left. Oh, and some good, more front damage from Talon repeatedly, over and over. Final 10 seconds. Can anything happen?
8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's going to be the end of our match for our grand finals.
After a slow start, we took control of the pacing of the match and took home the gold. Would have loved to secure at least one knockout, of course, but in the end, we overdrove to our first win. Well fought from Burrito. I just want to shout out both Rabid and Vector Space for 2 great matches. I think everyone in the area is super friendly, welcome to newcomers, and they put on fantastic events. Thanks again to everyone who I met at both matches. Y'all are pretty cool. It's been quite the journey behind the scenes to get here, so until next year, cheers and take care.